Right guys, how's it going and welcome back to Toon Tuesdays, your weekly roundup of Newcastle United news. So if you missed my last video, I am currently away on holiday, which is why I'm looking a little bit red and why I'm wearing this very fashionable wristband. But I'm never too far away to talk about Newcastle United, and of course, I brought the flag, which is the most important thing. So there's quite a lot to talk about from what's been going on in the last week. Unfortunately, what there isn't too much to talk about is the takeover. I'd hoped in the week between my last Toon Tuesdays and today's Toon Tuesdays that we would have heard a bit more, but we haven't really. Nothing from Newcastle, nothing from the Premier League, and for where it stands right now, no official bid seems to still have been placed by Sheikh Khalid. So that's where we are right now. One interesting thing that did come up was that Sheikh Khalid and the Bin Zayed group set up a new company called Monochrome Acquisitions, which, I mean, monochrome, if you don't know what that means, it basically means black and white. So it's not very sneakily named. So if that is a serious company that has been set up, and you can find that on Companies House right now, people have been talking about it. It's been set up based in London. So all these things are still looking like we are heading in the direction that we want to be going in. We're just still waiting for that official confirmation. And you know, I said it last week, I know we've had our fingers burnt in the past with potential takeovers, but with those potential takeovers, it seemed like it was shouted from the rooftops. I'm just hoping that no news is good news and things are basically just making their way through. You know, fitting proper persons check, checking they've actually got the funds, and all of these things will take time, and I'm hoping that is why we are still waiting. And I'm hoping that once all of that is confirmed, we will get where we want to be, which is with a new owner. Something else that seems very takeover dependent is the Rafa Benitez situation. Contract ending on the 30th of June. I'd hoped something may have happened with that since my video last week, but the only thing that seems to have happened is that yesterday Benitez was spotted at the training ground. Different news reports coming out of that one saying, could this be the return for Rafa, getting something sorted contract wise, but other reports are saying that is him potentially picking up his stuff and pretty much saying goodbye to Newcastle United. So who knows? I think personally, I think it's more likely that he's picking up his stuff, which isn't, it's definitely not what I want. I mean, speaking of managers, what I did mention last week but seems to have been brought forward more and more is that Sheikh Khalid and the Bin Zayed group want Jose Mourinho to take over as manager of Newcastle once they get the takeover sorted. So I did actually briefly mention that in the last video. Some of you guys want to see Rafa stay as manager. Some of you guys said Mourinho was a good shout, and then some of you guys said you actually wouldn't prefer to have either of them two as the manager. I can genuinely see the link with Mourinho as plausible. You know, he was pretty much taught under the great Sir Bowie Robson, which, you know, is a great link for Newcastle with him there, and to come back to the Premier League with a potential new owner and with money to spend. You know, so I can actually genuinely see that as being a possibility. However, for me, after what Benitez has done for us the last 3 years, he's the guy I want to stay on as manager. It doesn't sound like that may be the view of the new owner, but again, who knows? There's just so much news coming out all over the shop, and none of it's confirmed really, so we'll have to see what happens with that. I mean, ideally, I want Benitez to sign the contract now. You know, it's not going to happen, I don't think, unless the takeover gets sorted before the 30th of June. And I would actually like to think if it did get sorted before the 30th of June, that they would just get Rafa in and get it sorted quick. Because who knows, you know, is Mourinho even aware, or has he been spoken to, or is this just news saying that they would like him, you know, because there's a big difference. So, and again, the thing that worries me is that if the takeover doesn't get sorted before the 30th of June, we've then got this gap of, do we have someone in line to come in on the 1st of July to look after things, or are we just going to sit and wait until the takeover does go through, and then that's when they bring in a new manager? So yeah, for me, fingers crossed. My ideal would be that it gets sorted before the 30th of June, and then Rafa gets signed on a new contract. But let me know what you think. Is Mourinho a good option if that is all true? Or would you rather stick with Benitez? Or would you rather have someone completely different? Something else about today, which I think is making people want the takeover to go through even more, that it is 50 years ago today that Newcastle United lifted the Fairs Cup. 50 years ago today since Newcastle lifted their last piece of silverware. Unless you want to count the Intertoto Cup, but I don't think anyone's counting that. So yeah, it's been pretty nice to read some of the news articles about it and everything like that, but get the new owner in, let's find some ambition in this club again, and let's, you know, start challenging for trophies, you know, even the League Cup. Like, you know, let's get out there and let's go for it. And that was a lot of what I was reading today as well, about saying, you know, if someone had said that would be the last trophy Newcastle would win for 50 years, I wouldn't have believed you. And believe it or not, that is exactly where we are right now. So come on, Sheikh Khalid, let's get this takeover done. In terms of transfers in and out, as I've mentioned, it doesn't look like anything's going to happen until Rafa Benitez does or doesn't sign a new deal. I mean, one thing that has happened is Mo Diarmi has now left. Obviously, his contract ended and he didn't meet the requirements for his extension into next year by playing or starting a certain number of games. So, best of luck to Mo Diarmi. I actually read this morning that he's already in Qatar looking to sign for a team over there. So I believe there's interest from potential other Premier League and Championship teams, but he is a bit older now. I've no doubt he's going to get a decent payday out there. So if that's the way it goes, then I wish him the best of luck. In terms of under 23s, we have released some of them as well. I think the name that stood out for me was Cal Roberts. So again, best of luck to him. And Rafa did say, you know, best of luck to Mo and some of the academy guys who were parting ways. I've actually heard that Rafa is still interested in keeping Diarmi on. But again, because of his contract situation, he's not able to really act on that. So if Diarmi doesn't sign for Qatar, and if Rafa does take over or sign a new deal, then maybe he could be on his way back. But I think it looks like he's moving on. And then in terms of transfer rumours and everything like that, there's a fair bit actually, to be fair, in and out. But the one that probably stands out the most is the situation with Rondon. Again, he does have a release clause from West Brom, I believe, of 16.5 million. The sticking point of why we haven't brought him on, I believe, is because he's an older player and Ashley only likes to sign, I suppose, up-and-coming younger players. So, again, with the Rafa situation, that's not helping either. But honestly, I don't honestly know why we haven't just gone for it. I know he's an older player, but he's Premier League proven. And as long as I've been doing this YouTube channel, I've been saying we need Premier League proven. We had the Slimani debacle. You know, we've got Rondon on loan. He's done a cracking job. I know he's a bit older, but let's just get him in, give him another season or two, and in that time, we then bring in younger players for the future who can build up and play alongside Rondon and learn the trade, rather than just having one striker, because that seems to be all we want at the minute, you know? If we don't sign Rondon, we're back in the market again, looking for another younger striker who we are hoping is going to be any good, you know? Just get Rondon in now, pay the money, and then we'll build from there. And then we can look to maybe next year or even this same year, ideally, get Rondon in with another younger player, potentially from abroad or a lower division or whatever, and then build them up. You know, don't just let Rondon go off to Wolves or whoever he's linked with, because there seems to be a fair few teams who are definitely interested in him, and you can see why. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that. Some good news to mention, from what I've read, we've brought Shola Ramiobi back to Newcastle United, not as a player, but as a loans player coordinator. Yeah. Again, I believe this is something that Rafa was really looking to do before obviously his contract was coming to an end. And it's because I know we don't have as many players on loan as the likes of Chelsea do, but we still do have a lot of players on loan, or we have had players on loan, I should say. And I suppose to have someone who's actually in charge and looking at where to put them and where they're actually going to play and get a game, and where they're going to play and get a game and hopefully do well, and to have someone who actually looks after them rather than, because I don't know how it works at the minute, but do we just send them off there and then just hope that it goes well and then get them back? To have someone specifically doing that job does sound pretty helpful. And you look at players like Armstrong, you know, who had really great loan spells and then also had some not so great loan spells, and then we ended up selling him because he never got his shot in the first team. So for someone to come in and hand pick perfect loan deals and then also report on them and how we can then phase them into the first team would be perfect. So Shola, I wish you the best of luck. I hope it all goes well. I said there was a fair bit to talk about today. I feel like I've been talking for ages. The final few bits to mention would just be that the Premier League fixtures do come out on Thursday at 9 AM, so I will certainly be looking out for that and hoping we get a decent first game of the season. Hopefully at home, and hopefully someone not inside the top six, basically. A game we can hopefully win. Last few seasons we haven't started the campaign very well, so we're hoping for a bit of a different story this upcoming season. I think, you know, I wouldn't even say the promoted teams, because the promoted teams normally kick on with the confidence of getting into the Premier League. The first few games they will really be going for it. So, you know, someone who was kind of around us near the end of the season, mid-table team that we could hopefully pick up 3 points in the first game of the season. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and then obviously you look out for the last game of the season, see who we're getting that as well. But other than that, that is it, guys. So let me know down in the comments below what you think of, I suppose, everything that I've mentioned today, specifically the takeover, specifically Rafa Benitez and his situation, and potentially the idea of having Jose Mourinho as a manager. I mean, who knows, honestly, if the takeover goes through and the money's there as it sounds like it is, who knows what could happen. So, like all of you, I'm staying as positive as I can, and I'm just hoping that something gets sorted soon. But yeah, let me know down below what you thought of everything. Also, let me know down below if there's anything I might have missed this week, a bit of news that I haven't picked up on. Great to hear what you guys think of that. And yeah, that is it. Drop a like on the video if you're enjoying this series. Thank you all for watching. There will be another Toon Tuesdays out next Tuesday, hopefully with some good news. Alright, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you later.